And I'm going to leave this. Well, I'll give it to you. I have one here. All right. I will start off with one question just for all of you, and that will get the ball rolling in terms of audience questions. But is there anything, as you have all listened to the dialogues from your colleagues, is there anything you would like to share or expand on from your earlier comments tonight, or something you heard from somebody else that spoke that we didn't cover? Anything of you, 5. Anything. And if there's not, I'll toss it back out to the audience and say, what would you like to learn more about?
So I was going to expand on your hard conversations and just say that we take once a year, we do death and taxes, where we even go if people die, and then if people die, and then if people, so there's a lot of things that go into what we're looking for with our company. So if you don't like hard conversations, practice. And even like with spouses. So as women in business, the ownership in our company is very separate from our spouses and that was done before I was even a teenager, because we didn't want our marriages to ever be dependent on or ever have an effect on other people's employment, which a lot of times with family businesses, we know a lot of examples where an employee chooses one spouse and then they lose their job, depending on how that. So we have always decided, and we communicate that out to our employees too, because people are apprehensive because different family businesses have a lot of different models. So if you're not in a family business, they are questions worth asking on those types of things. So hard conversations. They're fun.
Does anyone else have another contribution? Something you would like to share that you didn't get to share earlier? If not, I'm going to turn it to the audience and say, oh, Heather. Heather is bursting. I can see you have tons of advice.
It's not advice. I just want to make sure we don't let this night escape us without thanking First Bank, thanking Shelley. So, thank you for moderating, Deb. It's been wonderful. Thank you for this opportunity for us all to gather. It's such a rare thing these days. And I also want to thank the allies in the room, those men that decided to join us tonight. Thank you. Thank you for supporting the women in your life.
Very nice. Audience, what are your questions? Anything, something you're burning to know about somebody. Yes.
So I work for a university, and my question relates to internships and mentoring young women, whether they're at the university or just in the community, what activities are happening out there. And just want to encourage everybody to work with your local universities, whether it's community college, trade schools, universities.
So it was kind of a question and also a call to action. She works for a university, and it's specifically mentoring young women and in a university level. And I do think it is a good question, because I know personally we're in touch with high school programs. But then what happens once they're out of high school? So does anyone have any experience with that, where they brought in someone at the college level or through a program or just directly? Have you partnered with a college to start to mentor a young adult?
I'll just say at the winery, we're dying for interns. So if you know of anybody, yeah, it's in Santa Barbara.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yes,
Yeah, harvest, please. Bring them on.
Got an extra 20 hours.
there you go.
So we've, not necessarily on the mentoring side, but we've established relationships with local universities and even universities throughout the country for recruiting efforts. So we build those relationships with their career centers, posts on our job boards to get new graduates and even alumni and that type of thing. But we haven't yet done it for the mentoring program, but keep that in mind.
Awesome.
In case you didn't know, Cal State University San Bernardino has a nationally recognized cybersecurity program. So
Yes.
Wow.
Thank you for that.
Awesome.
We'll make a relationship there for sure.
Yeah, so we work with Cal State Fullerton a lot. So we're doing a lot with their business school. We do a lot of mentor programs in there. But there's other high schools as well. So Sue Parks was here earlier. They work with the Garden Grove School District for the high school mentorships. So there's lots of different opportunities to do mentorships. Well, it's just the Samueli Academy, which if you don't know is the charter school that any foster kid in all of Orange County can go to. We've done programs with them. So there's a lot of opportunities to mentor.
Girls Inc.
Yeah, a quick side story. I did one during COVID, and it was a 20-year-old young woman in Santa Ana that when she was going to Cal State Fullerton, took her an hour and a half by bus to get there. Now, she lived less than 10 miles, but it took an hour and a half by bus, and her COVID struggles mirrored my COVID struggles, not because she's a single mom, but because she's a big sister to two parents that were working. So there were a lot. She said, I can't focus in my finance class because I have to do lunch for my second grade little brother. And so there were a lot of things that you don't think about that, so it was a very interesting, humbling experience to somebody less than 15 miles from my house that's having a lot of different struggles. And I had good points. I'm like, make lunch at the same time you make breakfast. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I had pointers. I had kids. I do well. So, but it is, if you haven't done it, I highly recommend getting involved. There's so many opportunities, and it's great. You can make mistakes and tell them, like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't do that right. But and they don't know all the time either. So you get better the next time.
Who else? Oh, Susan Kenny. Did everyone hear that? So Susan's question is, as female leaders, do you think perhaps you're more compassionate in how you care for your employees than maybe your male colleagues might be? That's a good question for everybody.
Absolutely. I actually find that the instinct of the female leader is to adopt, at face value, more male traits. So to be less compassionate, to be more cold on feeling disconnected, aloof, because that's what's encouraged as a successful behavior. So I think by default, we try to go maybe away from our natural tendencies and shut down that part of ourself. So if we are embracing our team, if we are caring about others, it can be seen as weakness. It can be seen as someone that's easily swayed or influenced. That's not okay in any way. And when we're talking about compassion, that's just a human rule. That's not a male or female characteristic. That's just a freaking human. So if we all kind of remember and hang out in that space, it is not a woman's job to be compassionate and care for the others. It is the job of humanity to ensure that humanity is taken care of and compassionate as a species.
Anyone want to add to that?
Thank you and good night.
So profound. On that note, how are we doing on time? And we're doing good?
Raffles at the end, so stick around.
Okay, well, let's take another question or so because, and there's a couple. Jenny?
How do you guys balance honoring the past and the business that your parents created and innovating for the future and including what the next generation is passionate about? So, how do you balance keeping it the way it is versus evolving the business going forward?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jenny. I think it is tough because, with things like cryptocurrency and financial technology, this is another language, and I frankly don't. It seems like the Federal Reserve is trying to figure it out too. So the 22 and 19-year-old can say, well, it's obvious. This is where you should go. But anyone over 30 is like, I don't know. How's that going to work? So I don't know. There's a balance. And there's sometimes where I want to say, okay, guys, sure, come on in and just you figure it out. But I'm like, I just got here. So wait your turn. So I don't know. We're figuring it out. And things may not move as fast as the younger generation would like, but they'll have their turn. And my dad, when we were little, would say, whoever, no one has to run the bank, but if you do, I frankly, I wouldn't care if you just blew it up. Like, we're not going to, but he's like, I would rather one of my children run it and fail than have somebody else, run it and do okay. So it's getting over this fear of failure. So frankly, if my kids, when it comes time, if they wanted to do something crazy, I would remember that moment of my dad saying that and say, well, we'll take risks and maybe it'll work, maybe it won't.
Okay, good. Anyone else contributing?
You guys are all amazing. You guys all bring something to the table, and if you can showcase that in the world that we live in now, which is social media, which is videos, which is like Instagram or TikTok, whatever you want to call it. I look younger than I really am, but I feel like that's something that it can be very empowering and inspiring to other females as well as young males. It doesn't matter, gender, right? Are you guys ever considering doing that?
So on behalf of all of us, we're way too shy to do videos. Right. No, so I'll answer yes, but I think I love the millennials and the Gen Zs I think their passion and their ideas and their videos and their songs that can change cultures on TikTok, I think is remarkable to watch, and I love it. I'm on it because I join whatever my kids join. So if they join, I join. So I haven't done Snapchat just because it started as the cheater app. I can't get there, but I'm going to. But I want to understand it. That's how it started. But like TikTok is really interesting to me to watch the influence and the impact and the reach that different people are having. I don't know if you guys watched Jax and her Victoria's Secret song, to watch a whole company change directions. So my 11-year-old sings it. It's on the radio, and I think this is an interesting time with really amazing people that are coming up. So personally, I would love to see the next generations do those videos and grab what you think works. If I try to do it, I mortify my children. Well, not my 11-year-old. She still thinks I'm fantastic. But I mean, it's not like what she can do with my phone versus what I can do with my phone, and she's 11. So it's neat to watch all the different things that are happening, but I think that's great opportunities for collaboration. I think there's great opportunities for so much value add to the different things that we're doing. So, yeah.
Ed, I think you're being called to action to create a podcast for women in leadership. And guess what? There's a podcast studio at Antis.
There is.
Yeah.
And I got some of my
That's right. You've already got the guest lineup. It's easy peasy.
That's my
I'm going to
profile
remember
picture.
that tomorrow, Corey, when we go into our vision day. Okay, I thought I saw someone. Yes, you over there.
So I brought this question. And this can come from anyone. By the way, you're all amazing. Thank you for being here. Your story is a strange question, but I'm so curious. Do any of you have a story to share about something enthusiastically that you said yes to that later you had adamantly wanted to say no to?
Oh my God. That's a great question. Oh my God.
Except for husbands.
Oh my gosh. They're thinking. Da 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 da. Oh, of course, Heather, you got a story. She reached for the mic right away. I knew it. First one.
Let me tell you the story about hot air ballooning. So, hi, how are you? Tip your waiter, yes? I'm here all week. So, coming from a wine background, right? One of the most beautiful things in life is you get in a hot air balloon and you toast in the sunset and it's just gorgeous and No, let me tell you my journey about a hot air balloon in Tanzania. So after I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, summited Cancer-free, that was my goal. So after 8 days on the mountain where my family was literally like WhatsApping me constantly, are you dead? Are you dead? Are you dead? Are you dead? No, I didn't die on, one of the most dangerous mountains in the world. I got in a hot air balloon. So I thought, oh my gosh, what a great way to celebrate. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be so amazing. Safari, we're gonna see the elephants. So if you've never been to Tanzania and to get in a hot air balloon, because, who would? They lay you on your side. Right? So I said, oh, yeah, yes, this is so beautiful. I get there, it's laid on its side, and I said, what? So they load us in like astronauts. I'm laying there, I'm feeling like I'm strapped to a Jesus board or something, just waiting for something to happen. I don't know what's happening. All of a sudden, they fire it up. And the balloon starts filling, right? And then they drag you along the ground until the balloon is filled up enough to lift you into the sky. Except our balloon did not lift. About 300 feet of dragging later, still strapped down. What's going on? We hit a termite hill. A 7-foot tall termite hill. Broke my orbital socket.
Oh my God.
Broke my glasses. Broke my pinky finger. One of the guy cut his arm stem to stern. And so we're all bleeding and crying. And there's no way to stop a hot air balloon. So we just lift up into the sky and float away to look at this beautiful Serengeti desert. And our tour guide's like, please observe all the animals. And we're like, let me the F down. Where is my insurance? Let's go. So that turned into a no.
You were going to start off in Temecula over the wine country, but all right, can anyone top that? There's got to be another funny story.
That would be a yes that would turn to a no.
A yes and turn to a no. All right, and I think this is a good segue to the raffle prizes, and we're ready to win.
Okay, how about that? When women come together, incredible things happen. So let's do one more round of applause for this incredible panel.
All right, last 2 orders of business again, 3. Number 1, thank you all again for coming tonight to our inaugural Women in Leadership. We're very excited that you're here tonight. Shelley and I were talking at the table during dinner that maybe next year what we'll do is we'll do the founding women, so we'll give your moms a chance to come back and tell the real story. So just letting you know, one of them's already here. If you work for First Bank, could you please stand? I'd like my colleagues to get a chance to stand up and be recognized. We have our team here from St. Louis. We have our team from Wealth Management, Commercial Banking, Retail, Mortgage. They're a great team. I've been in this job now about 4 months, and this is the part where I get emotional. Shelley talked earlier, Shelley talked earlier about, to find happiness in a job, find out where your values match the company values. And Jenny's nodding her head, and Katie and others, Jenny's been around me and Katie for 12 years, so they know that I found that place where my values match. So I just encourage you to find that as well. So thank you all very much. God bless you all. Get home safely, and have a great night. Thank you.